Deborah Hill is a practicing attorney there in the Maryland area. Tell us about yourself, and then let's give us some analysis on this debacle down there in Fulton County, Georgia.
Oh, thank you, Robert. How are you today?
Good.
Well, as you said, I'm a practicing attorney. Right now, I'm in the middle of a class action suit. It's Fitch v. Maryland, and we are at this point trying to get the state of Maryland to reinstate prescription drug coverage for elderly and disabled state retirees. They took it away from them, and when they turn 65, they no longer have it. And so we've been in a 6-year fight trying to get that back.
Okay.
So, yeah. So at this point, and of course, I was elected to the Baltimore County Republican Central Committee, where I was the chair of the Admin and Ethics Administration, and I ran for a state's attorney in 2022.
All right.
So, saying all that, I'm really amazed at what's going on right now. Not only with Fannie Willis, but also with so many Black women who are in political office. I'm right here in Baltimore, Maryland. I'm in Baltimore County. We've had one of our mayors, who is a Black woman. She was removed because she stole gift cards. And we had another mayor who was a woman who was removed and indicted and went to jail because she was selling books in place of, I think it was some kind of a bribery scheme or something.
I've never seen that. Yeah.
And then we had our state's attorney, Marilyn Mosby in Baltimore City, who made up some information in regards to her mortgage and somehow or another got COVID funds. And so we're waiting for sentencing for her. So it's just not a good time to be a Black attorney. I'll just put it like that.
Wow.
So Fannie Willis just seems to be one in a long line, not including Letitia James and so many other that seem to have a specific goal in mind. And so this right here, all I can tell you about this particular case is the overall verdict, I guess, is what we should have expected, considering the corruption down in Georgia. And I went through some of the things that the judge said. I'm looking at his order now, and he indicated that that there was no evidence that established that the district attorney had a receipt of a material financial benefit. And of course, we all heard about the trips and about the cash, and we're saying, how can that be? And then he also indicated that that the testimony of Miss Yurty and the impeachment of the former partner carried no weight. I mean, and them in establishing the fact that this affair had started before this indictment just puts a different complexion on the whole case.
Right.
Now, of course, both sides can appeal.
Right.
I think that if Fannie Wade stays on the case, then it could be good for Trump. And I say that because, number one, she is totally, regardless of whether the jury comes back with a guilty or not guilty, more than likely a guilty verdict against Trump. I mean, that seems to be the whole reason why they're doing this. But even if they come back with a guilty or not guilty, I mean, can you honestly trust what's coming out of this office?
Right.
I mean, does it, and when you think about it, I think the best thing that she can do is recuse herself and put this into someone else's hands. But in looking at this, I think the judge did a very, very deft two-stepped. He played both sides, and I think that we as citizens of this country, and especially of Georgia, lost.
Yeah. I'll bring the diva on here. She is. Hey, Sean. Hey, diva. Listen, I really saw that. I'm reminded of the Bible where King Solomon had to do the adjudication, and he was going to split the baby. And that's what a lot of people call it, splitting the baby, because I want to do this, but I don't want to get. I think he was afraid, to be honest. I heard today the local news there in Atlanta that he got some death threats already before he made the threats and all that. So, but I think he's more afraid of Fannie to get her machine. Her machine on him because he's running for re-election now at the same time as her. And so it's just really sad because there were so many obvious things that were going on. Even if you're not a legal scholar, you can see, okay, they're lying. They proved this. And so let me ask you this, Debbie. What about with them saying the cell phone towers, how they were seeing where they were? They used that?
The judge disregarded that. He disregarded the testimony of Ms. Yurti, who said that they had been carrying on since 2019. He disregarded the impeachment of the partner, and when he said, "Oh no, I don't know when they started," and then he sent texts to the other attorney saying, "Oh yeah, that started when they met in when they were both judges." So I mean, his testimony was pretty much impeached, and he disregarded that. I think let me see if I can find it. I don't want to hold you up.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
But because he totally disregarded that, he did not get into what I think would be the financial incentive of Fannie Wade to continue this prosecution, because he said, "Oh well, if anything, she's been trying to get this prosecution rolling," and essentially, once she put all these cases together, 19 defendants at one time, she put all these cases together and continued. I'm telling you, if she had done one case each, she had a prosecutor for each case, she probably could have got through this in about maybe 3 to 6 months.
Right.
Putting them all together, she's talking years. And when you're talking about taking money from the federal funds, getting federal funds, then you're talking about a cash cow here. You can already see what she's done with the money that she's received so far. She's had some very nice vacations, and the judge didn't even take into consideration the fact that that all these things were supposedly she was giving cash to Mr. Wade. And I mean, normally you would say that in some way that Fannie Willis was a participant in a RICO scam, which she has charged President Trump with. But but he disregarded this information, and by disregarding it, he was able to come up with, oh well, there's no actual conflict of interest, though there is an appearance of impropriety. And when you have an appearance of impropriety, I mean, still that could be just as bad. You see somebody sneaking into a neighbor's house at night, and only the wife is home. What are you going to think? I mean, but it's you can't say that, oh, it's because of something actually occurred. You say, well, it looks like this occurred. It looks like this happened. And that in itself, when you have someone who's a public servant and supposedly dealing with public issues and being the people's champion, when you have them being how do I put it, tainted in some way, I think that hint of impropriety is enough for Fannie Willis to have to recuse herself from this case. But if she does it, she has to do it on her own, because the judge now did not tell her to do so.
Right, and that's a gift for Donald Trump and the other defendants, because I don't know if she really understands these kind of cases. I was wondering, somebody was asking me, I was talking with Sean the Diva here, about maybe he was leaving for the, because she has 3 bar complaints already. She's had about 2 or 3 ethics complaints that's going that she has to deal with while she's trying to try this case. So somebody said maybe he was trying to leave all of that to the bar to do the disciplinary things and all that.
Well, he did in the opinion, he did indicate that he was not the appropriate person to scrutinize her behavior in regards to ethics, and that he named a whole slew of different Georgia type of establishments that could look at the ethics committee, the bar association, and so forth and so on, and of course it's up to them to take up the mantle. Now, I had the pleasure of watching Attorney Merchant in front of the Senate Ethics Committee, and I watched her give testimony, and then to find out that they're saying that they really have no power. The other place where ethics complaint was made, they withdrew it. They said no, they weren't going to hold a hearing. So
Fannie told me y'all don't have authority over me, so you're wasting your time.
Right. So when it comes down to it, it's going to take some courageous people to stand up and say, this is not how we want our judiciary, our criminal process to be. This is not what we want. And there'll probably have to be other lawyers, and they'll have to be the judiciary. I mean, no one else knows the ins and outs of the legal system other than the ones who are practicing in it.
Right.
So therefore, they're the ones that would have to speak up. And since you haven't heard a huge hue and cry, I think she pretty much is going to get away with this.
That would really be sad, because it doesn't give me any confidence at all. Diva, what do you have any questions? You have any comments you want to try to?
Hey, Deborah,
how you doing, Diva?
I'm good. So my question is this. She literally is doing the same thing. I think there's some RICO stuff here. And I think that she should have been disqualified for even the appearance that it might be, because it's going to put such a stain on Georgia, on Fulton County, as if it hasn't already. I'm not understanding. I think both of them should have been let go.
Yeah, as Robert so eloquently put it, it's like when Solomon was trying to choose between who was the mother.
Wait a minute. Is that a scripture?
Yeah, it's in the Bible. Just go over
I was reading, I've read so much commentary in regards to what happened today. And I think one of the best one I read was, okay, so essentially you have Bonnie and Clyde. Yeah. And they take Bonnie to the jail, and they leave Clyde in charge of the bank. Okay, so I mean that's what you have. I mean, and I really think that the judge, he did a masterful job. Mm-hmm. He's a very good judge. Right, he did a masterful job of walking this tightrope, so that but what ended up happening is that he just ticked off everybody, as opposed to trying not to tick off one side and try not to tick off the other. He ticked off everybody. But I agree with you. There seems to be some indications that if a RICO charge is needed, it should be against that particular office.
Absolutely.
But I am not familiar with Georgia law. There's the intricacies, the ins and outs. But I am familiar with the rules of professional conduct, and it seems as though that if Miss Willis is going to get her due, it's going to be through the Bar Association.
And I'm hoping they are chomping at the bit right now, waiting on her. I wouldn't. And I think they probably left her in that spot or gave her that ultimatum because I think they won't. I call him Teflon Don. They want old Teflon Don to win this thing and come out on top. So they're going to leave an idiot in the position because she's already shot herself in the foot. So.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of ways she could have handled this, and first of all, taking the stand was not a good way to do it, because she opened herself up to a lot of things. What struck me with her testimony is that she said that she took her campaign funds and took them home.
Put them up under the bed, or
and I was like, oh my God, oh my
she's
God,
trying to get robbed.
She's going to have so many issues with IRS if IRS is,
exactly.
There's just so much money that obviously now I'm going by what they said at trial, but what they said at trial was that during this hearing, what they said during this hearing was that she had that they had access to her tax returns, and that this money that she supposedly had was not in any way accounted for.
Nice,
so
going her big mouth.
So and that was all brought in by her. This wasn't brought in by any of the attorneys. So I would say that the IRS and the Bar Association is where, if anything, that there'll be some maybe redress. I think the judge didn't want to jump into those waters, and he walked a very good tightrope.
Yeah, he's a new judge.
He finagled that.
He's a new judge, just finishing out somebody else's term. And he's 34 years old. So
he's only 34?
He's 34, yeah.
Oh, he did an amazing job.
He's a very smart
very
judge.
Astute.
He's very astute. And you could tell that, he played it down the middle when he was trying this case, only because you didn't know how he was going to rule.
Right.
It came to the point. In looking at what evidence was presented, I didn't see all the exhibits and so forth. I just heard the arguments and so forth. It appeared as though that she should be disqualified, and that he should be disqualified as well. So for him not to do that, and as I said, I'm not an expert on Georgia law. And I'm in reading his opinions, he seemed to cite to a lot of constitutional law, as opposed to when he was talking about attorneys who had done something warranted disqualification. Then he used Georgia law, but up to that point, no. So I obviously this is just the first go around. Everyone still has the ability to appeal. Wade could appeal, the state could appeal, and of course all the defendants who did not plead guilty can appeal. So
Wade,
we're still talking about, and then of course, if Miss Willis continues with this case, then she will have to get another prosecutor.
Yeah,
they'll have to get up to speed.
She has two others, Mr. Anna Cross and Mr. Floyd.
And you notice that Miss Cross was disappeared. So attorneys have an ethical obligation not to support perjury.
Right.
So you just wonder, because she seemed to be very effective, and so you wonder why she disappeared. That's just speculation.
She I don't want them asking me nothing.
I heard attorney say the same thing. She said that subordinate perjury, because that after that last hearing that she was at, she was like, I got other stuff to do. I can't do this anymore. So she did write a letter saying she couldn't, because she saw it was going off the rails quickly.
With
all
the dip. She was smart.
It just goes to show, if people weren't paying attention to this, really, if Trump wasn't involved, everything Trump's involved, of course, hits world news. But if Trump wasn't involved, and it didn't hit the radar like it hit right now, think about it. Would people actually have gotten such a good, close insight to the mechanics of the legal process in Georgia?
Well, the sad thing about that is, no, they wouldn't. Because we should be paying attention to that type of stuff.
All I can say is that it's interesting times. You see that they have tried a lot of lawfare in order to try to get Trump removed from the ballot. That went down in flames. And of course, you have a woman who accused him of rape, who couldn't remember what year it was or what month. Just knew it was Bloomingdale's. Then you have someone who valued Mar-a-Lago at $18 million, and that's worth almost $500 million. And essentially have turned real estate investing on its ear by saying that a bank and an investor can't negotiate a price. So this is just a long, and now you have this RICO case saying that the president of the United States, because that's what he was at that time, the president of the United States could not indicate that, hey, is something wrong with this? Was something wrong with your state, with your election? He cannot question the legitimacy of the election process in the state of Georgia. No, he gets charged, and every attorney who helped him, or was even mildly associated with him, had now has to deal with. Okay, all right. I've never seen things like this. This is something. But I'm telling you, we have to fight to keep our Constitution. We have to fight to keep our way of life. We have to fight to ensure that American values are first and foremost a part of this country, and that God, who has afforded us these rights, because these are God-given rights that we have, that we always sit back and we honor him and love him. So at this point right now, all I can say is there's more to come.
All right. Well, look, Attorney Hill, thank you for coming on. I want to just highlight one thing here. As you see, I don't know if you can see that on the screen, you were talking about, and we didn't even talk about this, you're talking about a lot of the Black women attorneys and everything. Some of the people you mentioned are on this collage that I have here.
Oh, my gosh, yes.
Marilyn Mosby, just you see some of them there. And we're actually working on a little expose, because all of these women in this montage there are all some attorneys, judges, or some type of major leadership, but they all have scandals currently, or in the last few months or few weeks. Some currently right now, and I had to say to myself, I wonder if there's a pattern here, like you said. Why are these Black women put in these positions, but then they're getting in there and just messing up big time? So we're gonna.
Well, keep me advised of that one, because
I'm gonna send you the file that we're working on. Yeah,
it's very noticeable.
Yeah.
I see it. I'll keep in tune with that, because I'm just wondering where they're coming from, and they all have the same type of attitude. So so it as I said, it was 3 of them right here in Baltimore. I mean, as a Black woman who's
Baltimore.
Yeah, I went to Chicago. People asked me if I was scared. I said, no, I'm from
Baltimore. No, that's right.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Let's give applause for Attorney Deborah Hill.
Thank you. Thank you.
All
right.
Thank you. We'll talk to you. We'll bring you back on again real soon.
All right.
Real soon.
All right.
Good,
that was some good stuff.
Very, very well. Very, very got a plethora of knowledge.